On this special day, we decided to get out of the regular schedule and publish a special video for the occasion. As we all know, women had an inferior role in almost any important aspect of life throughout history. And although the status of women differed immensely by region, the rise of Christianity helped to constrain patriarchy, and higher rates of definitive celibacy, at its most extreme level. Today, we will take a look at the top 3 similarities and differences in the status of women between Western and Eastern medieval Europe. The Western Church instituted marriage laws and practices that undermined large kinship groups. From as early as the 4th century, the Church was completely against any practice that enlarged the family, like adoption, polygamy, taking concubines, divorce, and remarriage. The Church also severely discouraged and prohibited consanguineous marriages, a marriage pattern that has constituted a means to maintain clans, and thus their power, throughout history. The Church also forbade marriages in which the bride did not clearly agree to the union, but this was mostly theoretical, since women didn't really express any opinion in that matter and followed their parents' will. With that being said, here is the first difference, which is one of the main differences between the East and the West, and that is the form of Christianity. Western Europe is represented by the Catholic Church, while Eastern Europe, by the Eastern Orthodox Church. The main difference between the two is the papal primacy. While in the West the form of political power was theocracy, the Church was the highest institution. In the East the political power was caesaropapism, where the social and political power was superior to the spiritual authority of the Church. Under the feudal system of the Middle Ages, women had little or no chance of attaining education. Education was rare for serfs and peasants in general, and being a woman made it impossible for a girl from a peasant background to learn reading and writing. Girls of upper class were given benefits of education in a few cases. There were certain obligations for women of nobility, which required them to be literate. However, the course of education for women was very limited, and it was controlled by the Church. The general feeling was that women were secondary and they needed to serve and remain under protection of men. Whatever education a woman could attain was designed to help her in becoming a good wife and mother in future. The most common position that required education and gave benefits of women was a nun. Abbesses could become important figures in their own right, often ruling over monasteries of both men and women, and holding significant lands and power. In Eastern Europe, however, there were many differences with specific regional characteristics. In the Byzantine Empire, Bulgarian Empire and Kievan Rus, the majority of women were well educated and had a higher social status than in Western Europe. Education was common even among peasants, and was given by the village priest. Usually, a room in the church was specifically used as a classroom. A famous example of educated Eastern European woman is Anna Komnena, who is considered as the first female historian. In medieval feudal society, female landowners had to depend on men, either family members or hired retainers, to fulfill the military service owed to their lord. Married women were also legally considered subordinate to their husbands, and a woman's land automatically became the property of her husband on marriage. Married women were not legally entitled to own landed property until the passing of the Married Women's Property Act in 1870 and the Married Women's Property Rights Act in 1882. However, single and widowed women were able to buy and sell land and participate in the world of business. Wealthy women would also have spent some of their money on expensive furnishings, clothes and books. Widows received income from their dower money or land to which they were entitled after the death of their husband. Specific estates were sometimes identified for dower in the negotiations preceding the marriage. In Eastern Europe, equality in family relations and the right to common property after marriage were recognized by law with the Ecloga, issued in Constantinople in 726 and Slavonic Ecloga in Bulgaria in the 9th century. There is a recorded case from the First Bulgarian Empire, during the reign of Tsar Peter I, of widow sued the sister of her late husband, who tried to take the land under the assumption that she is the sister of the late owner, but the widow won the case because of the ecloga. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified for another historical video.